guys, welcome back to another episode of I Am I. My name is Joshua Ansley, episode 101. Triple digits, getting up there. I thought about stopping soon, actually. Maybe at 2 years or something. I was like, maybe my time is done, but I've just become so accustomed to the money and the lifestyle that I just don't think I could live without it. So I think I'm just going to keep doing it, but we'll see. So today I wanted to talk about limiting beliefs, right? In the yogic world, in the psychology world, and in this life coaching world, you hear that a lot about this, like limiting beliefs. And I was listening to a dude the other day. I don't know who the fuck it was, another entrepreneurial, like, get your greatness, inspirational shit, And he was talking about the relative weight of importance and duration, right? So talking about how much weight we give into the negatives, even in a managerial, entrepreneurial aspect, that we give a lot of weight into the weaknesses in our lives, right? So he was saying that this idea of, he was talking about limiting beliefs, and he was saying that limiting beliefs are a limiting belief, that there is no limiting belief. That's just nonsense, right? We just have to step into the greatness, just move into our aliveness and all this, mumbo jumbo, which I love. I'm all about it. When I say mumbo jumbo, I mean I love the mumbo jumbo. And I say mumbo jumbo because I personally believe there are two different ways to work on things. Well, there's a fucking million ways to work on things, right? But in that respect, he's talking about not looking at our weaknesses, but focusing on our strengths and just building the strengths up so much that they overpower the weaknesses, right? So I believe that is sort of a top-down sort of way, right? And the other way would be to be looking at your weaknesses and focus on them and change them and see what needs to change, and that's a little bit more bottom-up. So when you even look at it through the chakras, it's an understanding of top down. I hear a lot of people just talking about, it's just surrender to God. Just attach to something higher and the lower attachments will release, And I believe that entirely. However, that's also how you just become annoyingly, obnoxiously positive. Which is one of those fucking people you're just like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to fucking hear you. You're like, hey, it's so great. It's so wonderful. Oh my God. No, I love it. It's beautiful, right? But understanding that when I work top down and I've understood those principles and worked that way, inevitably I would come up to walls in my life and not understand because I was unaware, avidya, ignorance. I was unaware of what was holding me back, and lo and behold, it was limiting beliefs. Now, I do actually understand the point that we get to the point where there is an understanding that even having limiting beliefs is a limiting belief. I do believe, however, that the way out is through. So while I also believe in top down, I do believe in bottom up. I believe in looking at your shit, sifting through it. Like I said, you got to go to hell before you go to heaven. Jesus did it, and Steve Miller sang about it, right? So I believe in looking at our stuff. That's the transformational process, is understanding what our crap is. If we don't take a full personality chart, if we don't really understand ourselves and how we're operating, which the easiest way to do that is to separate ourselves from it all, and the mindfulness practice is really powerful for that, to recognize, because otherwise we're too attached to it. We're too attached to the ego. We won't make those changes. There's just way too much. I mean, I am still an arrogant son of a bitch at times, and like won't let go. And that humility is that space of totally letting. It just happened yesterday. Like somebody was telling me something. I saw myself getting defensive, and I was like, son of a bitch. Now I have to. I saw it in the moment happening, and I'm like, now I'm just defending myself. And if I feel that twinge, then I know something's there. So I have to step into humility, and it's fucking painful. And it's awful, right? So while I do believe in coming from the top down, I also believe in coming from the bottom up. And it really is then, you come from the top down and the bottom up, you meet in the heart center, and you take that out into the world. And then you take your light into the world about how we relate to humanity through love, which is in the heart space, right? So we have a solid foundation. We've worked through all our fucking bullshit childhood conditioning and all that stuff, and worked up and find our own personal self-worth here, right? And we align that as the will comes down from the higher space, where there really is no will, right? But we align our will with that space of no will, and we take that out into the world, right? So I think, because even understanding ultimately that our weaknesses are an opportunity to find our strengths, right? Because I feel like if you just work top down, it becomes a lot of spiritual bypass, which I've talked about before. Like that spiritual bypass place where you're not actually acknowledging what's happening. You're not actually acknowledging the duality. You're not actually acknowledging the diversity and the differences and the unity in diversity, right? And that's why I say that singularity. I always say that the singularity includes the duality. So it's a lot of Vedanta versus Tantra, and I work with, I've been studying a lot of the different philosophies, and they're sometimes completely divergent from each other, but I honestly believe that it's inclusive of all of it. That singularity is inclusive of the duality. So it includes Vedanta, it includes Tantra, it includes using the world, but it's not different from Vedanta. As a matter of fact, I can get more into Tantra from understanding, because Tantra is that everything really is the world, or is divine. Everything in the world is divine, right? And Vedanta is a little more that this Prakriti, this is Maya, it's an illusion, right? And when you get back down to that space of singularity outside of this world, that is that divine space. But I really believe in both, because I understand the separation. The separation has been very powerful for me. The separation that the doer and the act is different. But then in Tantra, the doer and the act are not separate. It is all one. It's all connected. And that's beautiful. But I understand that it's in both of them, right? So I understand that top down and that bottom up. And we come again into that heart space and bring that out into the world. So it might be at a different time in your life, whatever you might need. Right? There might be a time, because have you been digging down into that space down below and you're sifting through all the crap, and maybe you get stuck there, so you have to recognize your greatness. But if you're just in this this greatness and just perpetuate and just have no negative thoughts and just positive vibes only, that's a load of fucking bullshit, if you ask me. You have to look at the crap. You have to get down into the mud. No lotus. But if you're sitting in the fucking mud and not getting out of the mud, you've got to allow yourself to rise and fly, and eventually they will recognize that there are no limiting beliefs, that you are limited by nothing, that there is nothing holding you back. But I do believe we have to sift through that in order to get there. But that's just my opinion, that's my experience. So really understanding where you're at right now and seeing what works for you right now. In Lakesh Lakin, I am you, you are me. Namaste. Oh, I do want to just accentuate too that this kind of cool idea that I always talk about the alpha and the omega, the top down and the bottom up, right? Is the singularity up here and the singularity down here. And then what it creates from that first chakra as it splits into duality, and even the Ida and the Pingala, and it creates a yoni in all of creation as it comes back up to the singularity up in the upper chakras. So it's pretty amazing, actually. It's that beginning and the end, right? It's the alpha and the omega. And it really is that space of masculine and feminine. The points are the singularity of the masculine and the duality of the feminine, and all of that together in triality or something. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, but it's awesome. Love it, love it. Just dive right into that yoni. What? Too much?